What's going on, YouTube? My name is GT, and if you're new to this channel, we provide meaningful information around fitness and finances through interesting conversations like the one we're gonna have today. Now, a lot of us out there may be looking to try to buy a mortgage and see that it's almost seemingly impossible to be able to buy a house. But what if we told you it could be easier to get a business loan? And Zach Feinstein and I had an interesting conversation, and he shared with us very important secrets that come to getting approved for a business loan so that you can have the business of your dreams. Interested? Check out this video.
So one of our goals is to buy a building in the next couple of years. So could you walk us through a few basic steps, especially here and people in Florida watching? How can someone kind of start that process? What's the down payments? Is there any benefits from being out of country or being born in a country or so on?
Yeah. So, one great thing about living in America is you have access to the Small Business Administration, the SBA, right? SBA is what came in during COVID and saved a bunch of businesses, the PPP loans. But the SBA has a lot of really great loan programs that basically the U.S. government kind of guarantees the money to a bank. So the bank's like, okay, well, this is usually a little bit more of a risky endeavor maybe, but, they got qualified through the SBA. We'll lend them the money. And so that's a very simplistic way of saying it. But there's a program through the SBA called the 504 program, 504. And what that program is, as long as your business inhabits or will inhabit 51% of the building, right, you can purchase that building. And every U.S. citizen has up to $5 million in loan. And I think that also aggregates, like you and Serge combined would be 10 million. But so you can go and buy something for under that amount of money. And what's beautiful about it is it's usually amortized between 24 and 30 years, or 25 and 30 years. So, I'm sure the amortization rate, how much you pay a month, versus interest and principal, all the good things. You lock in a really good interest rate because I think it's one of the requirements from the SBA to a bank. And then on top of that, it's only 10% down. So if you want to buy your building for 120 grand, traditional is between 20 and 25%.
That's right.
So if you think about it that way, if it's $1 million building, you're paying 100 grand versus 250 up front. So, right. But still amortized really well. And that's how we ended up buying our first property, the Black Pearl building. We own that, and we bought it through SBA 504. There's also a program called the SBA 7A loan, which is still a 20% down loan. However, they do a little bit more risky deals. If real estate's involved, it always makes things easy. I always say, when you involve bricks and sticks, things get a whole lot easier for everybody because there's assets there, right? Like your gym.
Yes, Zach, that's a great point. So real quick, I want you to finish your thought. Sure. This is for everybody listening to this in the audience, and whether you're listening to this live or you listen to this later, this is a very, very, very important point. When it comes to a commercial real estate loan, for example, the bank, to Zach's point, is more inclined to do business with you, not because of you, but because of what you're going for, because there's value in what you're going for. It's called an asset-backed security, meaning, let's say you can't pay your loan or you can't pay back that loan. Don't worry about it, buddy. You go on your way. Just leave us that little piece of property that you were going to go after. We'll take that in-house and you keep going on your way. So it's a lot easier to actually get approval if you have the financials in order to get approval for commercial real estate because of the asset that you are acquiring. They are very interested in that. Go ahead, Zach. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's the same reason why it's a lot easier to buy a $300,000 home than a $300,000 boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've done that, but just to say. But yeah, so the value of the building, as long as it's there, and obviously you have to go through an appraisal process, but it makes it much easier. So I gave RJ that advice. If I know he's looking to possibly buy the warehouse there, but going through that 504 program, which is a lot easier than kind of people think, and actually, as long as you're a U.S. citizen, you're entitled to it. So, which is great, and I highly recommend. It's there. It's like it's like candy hanging on a tree. You might as well reach out for it and see what happens. But it's a lot easier of a process. And then once you get approved through the SBA, what's great is, let's say you do buy that building, you pay it off in 7 years because you guys are awesome and just put a bunch of payments to it. Well, that $5 million resets. So once that liabilities get paid off, then that $5 million is at full again. So you can buy a building for another X amount through the SBA 504 program. So it's definitely a good process for sure.